Hello everyone, are you well? As part of my Dark Universe world, I'm reimagining the ATM5, numbered it 7 because 6 is not as cool, and 7 implies there's a machine out there before number 7 that failed and has now been left to fend for itself in the universe. Maybe that's a scratch build to explore later in the series. Anyhow, that is a junk box container that is going to be the base for this build. Strap yourselves in, grab a beverage, and let's start scratching that build. The container shape needs some work. I need a slope for the head part, so I'm going to cut a piece off this. Since I've been called out many times by Spider-Man for using the incorrect tools for a job, I'm using this hacksaw. Speed cut to me cutting the plastic away. Now the container is a shape I can work with, but did I really need to cut it off? This, my friends, is called self-doubt, and I suffer from it on every build because you don't have to. You're welcome. That is a 2mm styrene, so it's thick enough to hold the head in place once I get around to it. Yes, I'm covering up the hole that I made because I like to make builds more difficult than they should be. While you marvel at my gluing skills, I'll quickly mention I have a Patreon page and a YouTube members page. Totally redundant because it involved you parting with your hard-earned cash, but would supply this channel with materials for builds. And don't get me started on the YouTube ads that pay me pennies every time they appear. More styrene because I need panels to cover the container, as eagle-eyed viewers would have noticed that the container isn't smooth like myself at 3 AM on a Friday in the local bar trying out my pickup lines. Keep an eye out for my book 101 Ways to Pick Up Women That Work Only If the Other Half Isn't Stood Next to You. It's a bestseller. I changed my mind halfway through this build and used cardstock instead to cover those dinks in the container because it's cheaper and styrene is expensive. Cereal box cardboard will do just as well as the styrene. Ball caps that when stuck down make this build look like a rejected Mad Max vehicle. Have faith, my friends, I'm a professional. Of sorts. Plastic piping that children use to learn how to make things isn't wasted here. They will become the ATMC's big chunky legs. I'm just cutting them to shape so they will look like it's in motion once the build is built. Hey look, I'm using wooden beads. I've said it once, so I'll say it again. Wooden beads. No build worth its salt should be without a bead or two. These are to act as the knee sockets on the pipes. Let's cover the underneath of the lid with a random wing from a plastic model kit. Hey look, no one will see this in the final glamour shots unless you're an Oompa Loompa or a spider. These strange looking greeblies will be some kind of piston that will connect the legs together and also hide the fact I've used ball lids. Hopefully. Bits of old tank parts are used as skirting for the sides. We need to give this container a little shape and hide the fact it was once a container for junk bots. More tank part bits are used for wheel arches because I couldn't think of anything cooler to use. And hopefully once painted, no one will actually know they're from tank parts. This is the wheel assembly bit for a plastic plane. It has shape and texture, and once painted, no one will know. Well, apart from you, because I've just told you. That's a sword from one of those cheap Gundam knockoff toys you'd buy in Poundland or tacky toy shops that sell key rings at extortionate prices. More greeblies are added as this is going to be stuck to one side of the container shortly. Another tank piece is added to bulk out the side of the container. In my mind, this can be the canteen where the soldiers prepare their lunch, or dinner, or tea, or supper. Now random garden wire wrapped tightly around a BBQ stick to make it look like a coil is added. It leads to the back of the ATMC and serves no real purpose other than it looks aesthetically pleasing. I decided it needed some kind of weapon, and having bought a cheap tank kit, I used the top half of the tank and stuck it onto here so I could then attach the rocket launcher later. Now it's time to stick that box onto the side, and it's starting to take shape. Another cheap gun from a cheap action figure. I so wish I could get my hands on some Final Faction figures. Sadly, eBay post and packaging prices kill any idea of that. Every time I look on eBay, I feel like Mel Gibson in the film Ransom when I see the post and packaging prices to ship to my address. That was my rant over. Then it was just me adding more Greeblies to the build. Too many Greeblies to mention, some hard to explain. Remember the bit I cut off at the start of the video? I Greebled it up and reattached it as some kind of engine for the ATMC. The code word for this video is Chewy. If you want to leave a comment, put Chewy at the start of the comment so I know you got here before passing out. Now you can't see with my chubby fingers in the way, but this is garden wire I'm wrapping around the bead and gluing into place. An old microphone that was supposed to be for an Ed 209 build that was scrapped at some point last year will be used as the head for this build instead. More Greeblies added. Hey look, I managed to get a part from jump bots onto this build. Genius! In fact, if you look closely, you'd spot more little parts from the jump bots arsenal stuck onto this build in random places. All done and ready for a rattle can of matte black. What follows is a dramatic long shot of me preparing my workstation just to pad out the video. Well, at least I'm honest. And there she is. Sorry, I want to be more PC, so there he or she is, primed and ready for painting, which is going to be very simple because sometimes less is more. Well, that's how I explain it to my other half anyway. The first colour is going to be a bright blue, which I'm going to spray all over the model, trying to leave some of the black showing. I've been asked this once or twice. This is a USB air gun. I wasn't sure when I first started how to use an air gun and just bought this one. It was under €40, but I have seen on Amazon recently that the same sort of air gun is around €25. So now's the time to bag one if you don't want to shell out 100, 200 euros for a proper air gun. It's just as good, well, not as good, but it does the job that I need it to do. Next is the colour green, thrown on like I don't have a care in the world, but you'd be wrong, I care, and would care enough if you give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. If you're a casual peeper, let's try and grow this channel, and I'd prefer that than you paying each month. I know that's bad business, but a thumbs up is better than a thumbs down. After the green, I then combined both blue and green because I was too lazy to clean out the airbrush and go over it all again, trying to blend all the colours together. So I guess the look I'm looking for is the weather-worn, lived-in look. Plus, I didn't want to just copy and paste the usual grey colour of the ATMC, and after all, this is my dark universe. Once everything had dried, then I did a dry brush of gold. Yes, I know, totally random, but you've got to work with me here. I did the dry brush of gold all over the model. I'm hoping this is going to hit all the top parts because what comes next is another random colour, which will be a dry brush of black, just to tone down all the gold and the blue and green. let's not forget to do the rocket launcher, which I'd put to one side and totally forgot about, so I had to go in and do all the colours again. Here I am just putting the gold on before I'll hit it with the dry brush of black. And that is the black dry brush being applied now, just to, like I said before, just to tone down all the gold, and starting to come together. Then just lastly, one last component, which will be white. For the white, it's what I affectionately call bird poo droppings, and I'm just going to dab on some white, and then using a wet brush, I'm just gonna, and this is going to sound like Bob Ross, I'm going to bring it down and just streak it down all the way around the build. And that is close to the end of the video. So once again, thank you for all your continued support. I appreciate all the subs and the comments, keep them coming. I hope you liked the video. Thumbs up, subscribe and all that usual jazz, and it's on to the glamour shots. So until next time, thanks for watching. Oh wait, you want to see more of this bird poo action? Okay, I'll leave some more scenes of me just bringing it down. Ever so slowly, bringing it down. Keep scratching that build, everybody.